So this is all about Kay Ivey. All about Kay Ivey, but here's...
South side of Chicago, and right here in Milwaukee. In neighborhoods just like this. We've witnessed the surge in crime, the theft, and shots fired. Politicians talk about crime. We've seen it firsthand. As governor, I won't tolerate it. Tony Evers, he blames the police, coddles criminals, and stood by as Kenosha burned. I'm Tim Michaels. I'm not a politician. In the Army, I swore an oath to keep America safe, and that's what I'll do for Wisconsin.
So I think the big issues are going to be the economy and crime when it comes to America. If I was running for whatever, it'd be crime and the economy. And also, universal basic income is tied into the economy. Ranked choice voting is tied into democracy. And of course, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. So Kay Ivey, who the hell is Kay Ivey? So Kay Ivey is a total pile of shit. Oh my God, you've never met a bigger pile of shit than Kay Ivey. Kay Ivey is the governor of Alabama. And here is, she's responding to the No Way Jose campaign ad. So apparently Alabama is going to crack down on illegal immigration. They got too many immigrants swimming up out of the Gulf of Mexico, apparently, or I don't. Let's hear.
You bet on those generic discount chips.
Oh, that's a...
Ran last week, I think it was Monday or Tuesday, about the securing the border, and made a comment about if your fear that if we continue to allow too many illegal immigrants into the states that we'd all be speaking Spanish at some point. Are you fearful that that kind of rhetoric might alienate a population in your state that is growing almost faster than any other state in the nation?
Illegal immigrants coming into our border is a major problem. Alabama's getting hit the hardest, but we cannot continue to put up with illegal immigrants having free passage to come to our state. So we've got to take some strong action, whatever that may be. Because Alabamians need the jobs. And we just got to, the reason we've got a crisis at the border is President Biden's policies are hurting us bad. He could change his policies and make us more...
Goddamn Biden. That's the reason why she's a total racist. So, a woman's right to choose. This is hype for governor. I cannot believe this candidate, this governor, Democratic candidate for governor of Idaho, he actually believes in pro-choice. He wants to decriminalize cannabis, fair taxation, fully fund public education, expand and protect Idaho, Medicaid expansion and protect Main Street and rural Idaho. That's Stephen Haidt for governor, Stephen Haidt. So that's what he had to say about women's right to choose. The government must not intrude on personal reproductive issues. Well, let me read it. The woman should be able to consult her doctor before making critical medical decisions. Make no mistake, women face unique challenges. By confronting these issues head on, we can empower women, strengthen our families and communities, and keep the door of opportunity open to everyone. It doesn't end with just women's rights, but everyone's right to self-determination. So decriminalize cannabis, pro-choice, Stephen Haidt. So you have somebody in Idaho, you have Flowers, who's running against, she's pro-choice also. So Kay Ellen Ivey, she is pro-life, and her opponent, Flowers, Yolanda Flowers, is pro-choice. So if that's a major issue for you, then you have to vote, the way that you vote. Now I got a whole list of facts here. Whole list of facts. I think I'm just going to spit them out. We've seen what Kay Ivey looks like, Kay Ellen Ivey, so let's just... Kay Ellen Ivey was born October 15th, 1944. She's an American politician. She served as Alabama's 54th governor since 2017. She's the 38th Alabama state treasurer from 2003 to 2011, the 30th lieutenant governor of Alabama from 2011 to 2017. She's a Republican. Following the resignation of her predecessor, Robert J. Bentley, Kay Ivey became the second female governor and the first female Republican governor. In the 2018 gubernatorial election, she easily defeated challenger Walt Maddox to win a full term. Walt Maddox, you couldn't beat Kay Ellen Ivey. She lists several bank and investment accounts with incomes ranging from $1,000 to $50,000 as of 2020. She's got a salary. She had a salary of $50,000 to $100,000 as lieutenant governor, and some of these other jobs as governor. She gets $120,000 per year. Kay Ivey's got some property in Monroe County, and that generates some revenue. There's some property in Monroe County, Alabama, which is generating revenue for Kay Ivey. The fair market value of the property is listed as $250,000, a nice cool $250,000, $250,000, according to Ivey's previous financial disclosure forms. The timber property is brought in up to $250,000 per year. Wow. So she's making a shit ton of fucking money she's lining her pockets. She's lining her pockets as she's, where was that beforehand? May 2017, Ivey signed House Bill 24, which would permit religious agencies to refuse to place an adopted child in an LGBTQ family. Kay Ivey will be 75 years of age in 2020. So she's 77 years young. 77 years young. Meanwhile, Yolanda Flowers is only 61 years of age, right? She's just 61. She's 61. Kay Ivey's 75. She's a fossil. Kay Ivey is a fossil compared to Yolanda Flowers. Kay Ivey is 5'6", 5'6". She weighs about 60 kilograms. Her eyes are hazel, her hair is grayish, she wears a UK size 6 shoe. Kay Ivey's husband, she's been married and divorced twice. She's the mother of no children. Her first husband was Ben LaRavia. They got engaged while attending Auburn University. Kay Ivey was diagnosed with lung cancer in 2019. On September 20th, 2019, Kay Ivey received outpatient treatment at the University of Alabama at Birmingham. I'm confident in God's plan and purpose for my life, she said. Kay Ivey was declared cancer-free January 2020. That's nice. Government housing, government health care, government guaranteed income. The cancer was in its early stages. 75. She's been taking Social Security too, right? She's got that Monroe County timber and then Social Security for the last 8 years or 7 years. Do you get Social Security if you're already making a bunch of money elsewhere too? That doesn't seem right. Kay Ivey, she signed the House Bill 314 on May 15, 2019. It intended to criminalize abortion as of November 2019, except in cases where the mother's life is threatened or the fetus may not survive. So even in cases of rape and incestual rape, the mother's life, that's the only exception she accepts. It mandated prison sentences of up to 99 years for physicians performing such surgery. The bill intentionally contradicts the U.S. Supreme Court's ruling in Roe v. Wade that laws banning abortion before fetal viability are unconstitutional. Kay Ivey's childhood and education. She was born in Camden, Alabama, population 2,000 today, October 15th, 1944. Bodman Nettles Ivey is her father's name, Bodman Nettles Ivey, and Barbara Elizabeth Nettles Ivey is her mother's name. They were second cousins. Her father was a World War II Army major who later worked with the Gee's Bend community as part of the Farmers Home Administration, a federal program. Kay Ivey adores her family. She wrote on Instagram, as an only child, I treasure the close relationship I had with my parents, Bodman and Barbara Nettles. Ivey, she used to be close with her family. They taught me about life's joys and sorrows. Most importantly, they taught me how to be a high achiever. I was fortunate to have two God-fearing, loving parents. There isn't a day that goes by I don't think about them. Today, I pay tribute to their memory by encouraging you to unplug and spend quality time with your loved ones. She graduated from Auburn University, where she is a member of Alpha Gamma Delta, where she became president of her first-year pledge class, where she served in the Student Government Association all 4 years. While at Auburn University, Kay Ivey took part in a blackface skit for which she later apologized. In 1979, she was appointed to the state cabinet by then Governor Fob James. Kay Ivey later worked as the reading clerk for the Alabama House of Representatives from 1980 to 1982 and as the assistant director of the Alabama Development Office from 82 to 85. In 82, she ran unsuccessfully for state auditor as a Democrat. So I wonder if Kay Ivey is just a spurned Democrat. She started out as a Democrat. Lots of people start off as Democrats. Ronald Reagan started off as a Democrat. How come the Democrats don't capture their greats? In 2018, Kay Ivey signed legislation exempting economic development professionals from registering as lobbyists under Alabama ethics rules or ethics law during the 2020 coronavirus pandemic. Kay Ivey declared a state of emergency March 13th. On April 3rd, 2020, Kay Ivey issued a stay-at-home order that went into effect the next day. Kay Ivey, factual information. She was born in Wilcox County, Alabama. She was born in Camden, which is about an hour's drive from Montgomery. Kay Ivey saved the state an estimated $5 million during her tenure as treasurer. Kay Ivey also signed the even more stringent House Bill 314, which sought to criminalize abortion, where the mother's life is in risk or the fetus is unlikely to survive. Oh. So it's against the mother's life. So it's worse. There's no exceptions. An abortion ban in Alabama. No exceptions. Not for rape, not for incestual rape, not for the life of the mother. Those are the three main exceptions that most people usually talk about, but not in Alabama. The Attorney General in Alabama, Steve Marshall, says the injunction blocked Alabama's abortion ban from taking place has been lifted. So if you get an abortion in Alabama, that's a felony. That's a felony. You took the morning after pill? What? Governor Kay Ivey, meanwhile, you're not allowed to water your neighbor's flowers. Kay Ivey and Attorney General Steve Marshall outlined what happens next for abortion in Alabama since the U.S. Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade. Kay Ivey released a statement and said, here in Alabama, we've been preparing this day when the decision-making authority on abortion is rightfully returned to the states. In 2019, I was proud to sign into law the Alabama Human Life Protection Act, which is one of the strongest bans on abortion in the country. Currently, there's a halt by a federal judge on the enforcement of that law. But now that Roe is overturned, the state will immediately ask the court to strike down any legal barriers to enforcing this law. Kay Ivey went on to say, today is a giant step forward for our country as after decades, Roe is finally overturned. Folks, after almost 50 years of standing up for unborn babies, our prayers have been answered. As I noted when I signed the Alabama Human Life Protection Act, every life is precious and a sacred gift from God. We will not relent in our efforts ensuring this 2019 law can be enforced as the next and very critical step to protecting our babies. This is a historic day. And I could not be more proud as a governor, a Christian, and a woman to see this misguided and detrimental decision overturned. The issue of abortion now returns to the states. The state of Alabama unequivocally elected to be the protector of unborn life. Accordingly, I wish to immediately issue the following notices because neither the United States Constitution nor the Alabama Constitution provides a right to an abortion. Alabama laws that prohibit abortion and that have not been enjoined by a court are in full effect. For those laws that have been halted by courts, the state will immediately file motions to dissolve those injunctions. Any abortionist or abortion clinic operating in the state of Alabama in violation of Alabama law should immediately cease and desist operations. Furthermore, any act of vandalism or violence against any crisis pregnancy center, church, or other pro-life entity in retaliation for today's decision will be prosecuted by the Attorney General's office to the fullest extent of the law. I will have more to say on Dobbs v. Jackson Women's Health Organization and the importance of this decision in due course. Kay Ivey got caught lying about having worn blackface once. She promised to do better, and now she claims to have banned CRT. She hasn't, but she brags about banning CRT. She signed bathroom bans and don't say gay bills into law. Her latest ad targeting immigrants called No Way Jose. It's so awful that it's cartoonish. If Kay Ivey gets any more racist in her latest ad, she'll turn into George Wallace. She's going to need another can of shoe polish. Kay Ivey is on TV throughout Alabama accusing Joe Biden and others of committing the greatest election fraud in American history. And this is what Kay Ivey said about the big lie. The fake news, big tech, and blue state liberals stole the election from the greatest president in our lifetime, Donald Jefferson Trump. But here in Alabama, we're making sure that never happens, Kay Ivey says in her ad. The timing says a lot. Until now, Kay Ivey hadn't said anything about the big lie. Here in Alabama, we're going to go by how God made us. Because if we identify We identify with something liberals never will. Reality. First of all, fuck you, said the host. Kay Ivey was born, both and raised in Camden, Alabama. Student loan forgiveness. Guess where Alabama Governor Kay Ivey is on student loan forgiveness? Does she give a shit about education? It's Alabama. It's backwards, stupid ass, fucking racist Alabama. You know where she stands on student loan forgiveness. You already know. I don't even have to. She isn't just opposed to student loan forgiveness or free college, or free vocation. No fucking way. No fucking way. Free college. A bunch of governors wrote a letter opposing the Biden plan. Kay Ivey signed on to it. And so did that Ohio governor, who's a Republican. College may not be the right decision for every American, but for the students who took out loans, it was their decision. The governors wrote, a high-cost degree is not the key to unlocking the American dream. Hard work and personal responsibility is. The governors cited research indicating that the average American would pay $2,000 in taxes in order for the president's plan to work. Though the Biden administration has not been explicit about who will foot the bill. Recently, Joe Biden said there's plenty of deficit reduction that could pay for the programs many times over. I will never apologize for ever for helping Americans, working class Americans, middle class working Americans, especially not to the same folks who voted for a $2 trillion tax cut that mainly benefited the wealthiest Americans and biggest corporations, that slowed down the economy, didn't do a hell of a lot for economic growth, and wasn't paid for, and racked up this enormous deficit. In 2003, Kay Ivey was elected to the state treasurer of Alabama. It's interesting to note that she's the first Republican to be elected to the state treasurer's position since Reconstruction, which refers to the period after the Civil War. This can sound rather strange to people who are used to post-Southern strategy U.S. politics, but this could be explained by the fact that it was the Republican Party that led the Union to victory over the Confederacy. Abraham Lincoln, the father of the Republican Party, was a progressive, socialist, free soilist, a land reformer. He didn't just free the slaves. My God, Abraham Lincoln was one of the greatest, most progressive presidents we've ever had. So Kay Ivey oversaw the collapse of the prepaid affordable college tuition. Big shocker. Kay Ivey's time as a state treasurer is best remembered because she oversaw the near total collapse of the prepaid affordable college tuition program. In short, Alabama residents could invest in the program in exchange for guaranteed 4-year tuition at a state college. However, the prepaid affordable college tuition program failed because most state colleges increased their cost of tuition by 3 times the inflation rate or more, which caught the people who had set up the program completely and utterly by surprise because that was so unprecedented. Kay Ivey, big supporter of Roy Moore. Kay Ivey, huge supporter for Roy Moore. Kay Ivey voted for Roy Moore. On the whole, Kay Ivey is conservative-leaning when it comes to politics. When the allegations of Roy Moore sexually abusing minors came out, she continued to support him. This wasn't a case of Kay Ivey not believing in the allegations. Instead, she said she had no reason to not believe the allegations, but she would vote for Roy Moore anyways for the purpose of protecting the Republican majority in the U.S. Senate. So she says, no reason not to believe the allegations, but she's going to vote for him anyways because of some other reason. Unsurprisingly, this resulted in a fair amount of criticism from a wide range of parties. Kay Ivey was born 1944, October 15th in Camden, Alabama. She was the only child to Broadman Nettles and Barbara Elizabeth. Her father, who served as an officer in the U.S. Army during World War II, worked with the Gee's Bend community as part of the Farmers Home Administration. Ivey's parents were second cousins. Growing up in Camden, Kay Ivey worked on her father's farm. She graduated from Auburn University, where she was a member of the Alpha Gamma Delta, becoming president of her first-year pledge class, and served in the Student Government Association all 4 years. Kay Ivey participated in a blackface skit while at Auburn University. She later apologized for it in 2021. Kay Ivey received an honorary Doctor of Letters from Jacksonville State University. In 1967, Kay Ivey moved to California following a marriage and became a high school teacher for several years. Following the end of her marriage, she returned to Alabama and landed a position with Merchants National Bank, where she launched a school relations program to promote financial literacy. Kay Ivey has been divorced twice, has no children. Kay Ivey stated on November 17th that although she had no reason to disbelieve the allegations, she intended to vote for Roy Moore to protect the Republican majority in the U.S. Senate, a statement for which she was criticized. Roy Moore lost the special election to former U.S. Attorney and Democratic nominee Doug Jones, much to the chagrin of Kay Ivey. On December 28th, Kay Ivey and Alabama Secretary of State John Merrill certified the senatorial election result despite an attempt by the Moore campaign to delay certification over unsubstantiated accusations of voter fraud. So, she didn't know the big lie. She couldn't tell the big lie, truth when it came to the big lie. But Alabama's governor's race, when it comes to Alabama's governor's race, you have Yolanda Flowers. Nice, gentle, wonderful Yolanda Flowers. She doesn't have to wear blackface because, she is black. She is black. She's been black her entire life. And black is beautiful. Hell yeah. Black people, the best thing Alabama's got going for it is her black people. It's her black population. You have to admire black people in Alabama. How the hell did you all survive for such a long time? How did you all, my God, all that bullshit you all must have, and then probably had no police protection, right? Had to deal with all those racist bullshit, and then basically, I guess segregation was, congregation? Segregation was congregation, so they were able to, when it comes to Yolanda Flowers versus this Kay Ivey, it's Marge Schott versus Rosa Parks. It's David Duke versus Fred Hampton. It's Abraham Lincoln versus Mary Todd. It's an old-ass Reconstructionist versus an old-ass racist. And the Reconstructionist is only 61. The old-ass racist, 75, 77, something, 16 years. So basically, Yolanda Flowers is the spring chicken. Yolanda Flowers is the spring chicken in this race. So, you know who sung Freedom at Woodstock? Richie Havens. You know who Yolanda Flowers admires? Albert Einstein, Barbara Jordan, Martin Luther King, Shirley Chisholm. Is that a speech impediment, or is that just how second cousin people talk? Is that just how the people who's born and bred of incest, is that how they talk? I mean, is that, I don't want to make fun of a speech impediment, but maybe that's just what a Southern drawl is. Is a Southern drawl, what is Kay Ivey's IQ? And is a Southern drawl a speech impediment? Does she know what 7 times 6 is? Piers Morgan asked that of Liz Truss, asked a simple multiplication question, and it took her a second, and he criticized her for it. How fast could Kay Ivey do 7 times 8? How fast could Yolanda Flowers do 7 times 8? Richie Havens, who sung Freedom at Woodstock? Richie Havens did. Freedom, 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 freedom.